Things were nice in those days. You remember the time between when my father was in, I guess, and my time, it was peacetime. John Wayne, of course, was big time. That's my mother. She's short, sweet, always kept a nice house. Bit of a disciplinarian. Kindergarten, of course, is a very traumatic experience, especially when your teacher's name is Miss Scar. And I remember me and Richie Shaughnessy always being put underneath the piano for being bad boys.
I found my thrill.
See the haircut? What do they call that now? Chicago flat top? Well, I hung around with the tough guys. There's a saying in life, it's better to be the mugger than the muggy. Being that if you're a mugger, at least you have a choice. If you're a muggy, you never have a choice.
In Pittsburgh, PA.
Everybody wanted to be like Hopalong Cassidy. As you can see, I was well-groomed. I wore my glasses when I was supposed to. I knew all of Shakespeare's plays. I knew the plots, the storylines. Now, I could outwhite the whiteys. Always, the primary goal was to go to college.
I adored baseball. I continue to adore baseball. I didn't even know there were kids that weren't white. I decided it was really hot to buckle my belt on my hip. I remember Eisenhower as somebody who played golf a lot and smiled a lot and was very grandfatherly. For me to do what was wrong would destroy more than my own life. It would obliterate any chance of my younger brothers and sisters of ever succeeding.
Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient...
1, 0.
Liftoff. The clock is... Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free at last!
We have known for several months now that the communists planned a massive winter-spring offensive.
It was such a small place, I heard. Half the size of California, whatever. I mean, how much problem could that be? There was an amount of anticipation about going to Vietnam. There was a lot of anxiety involved in coming back here, because we came back to a country that had changed its mind, and we got lost in the cracks. We were coming back in dribs and drabs. It wasn't like what my father said his return was like.
In a single day, over 31,000 returning Yanks enter New York Harbor. The homecoming heroes swarm the decks of the big liner for a first glimpse of the skyline, while Marlene Dietrich, a daughter of the 71st Regiment, gives them a shapely salute.
I can remember getting out of the cab, walking upstairs with my duffel bag, and greeting my wife and my little baby son. I felt, thank goodness, it's over. I don't have to worry about tomorrow.
I was working a week after I was discharged.
3 years, 2 months, and 23 days. When I came back, they still held my job.
I came home with a sense of victory won, a united country that had been supportive and was appreciative, and felt that I was growing personally, but that the country also was growing.
The Navy transport Private Joe B. Martinez arrives, bringing Korean veterans home on rotation. In their midst is the official 100,000th GI to be repatriated since the beginning of the United Nations action. And here he comes, Corporal Casper DeAngelis of Brooklyn, USA. He hits the jackpot of welcome. All America echoes Seattle's welcome home to Corporal DeAngelis, who with his comrades has earned a well done on a tough job.
We have reached the stage
Dr. King was hit by gunfire while standing on the balcony of the
can begin.
416 Americans died. There were 350,000
war abroad and of destructive conflict at home.
We have known for several months now that the communists planned a
risk for peace.
Stated purposes of the general uprising.
The last chopper out at night. It's a big Huey carrying in supplies. We came in on one like that and caught a mortar shell about 100 yards from us. There's the Huey now.
See, we're kind of here on a mission. We're all the soldiers killed in our area. We contacted their families, and we're taking pictures of the whole deal. You see.
Right.
We're going to build a little portfolio for all of them.
That's nice.
And donate to them. So.
I'm here because my son said I should be here. It took a long time for it to happen, and you know, I served my country, you know, and come back here and you know, still get stepped on.
Came up here looking for more answers, and I keep looking, and all I find for the first time is that you can hold your head up, and there's guys around laughing, and there's guys smiling, and there's guys crying, and it just makes you feel good all over.
This is cool, you know, they make an effort, but don't stop here.
We got to feel it today, everybody.
As a combat veteran with combat experience, are we any different than guys on Iwo Jima? Are we any different than guys in the Battle of the Bulge at Normandy?
Very good question. I think the only difference basically had to do with support from the country while we were there and from the country when we got back.
We didn't come back with the war over. We came back with the war still going on, and somebody took our place for each one of us.
That makes us different, and I think that makes it harder to close out the experience. Because, you know, when each one of us came home, war was still going on, and each one of us learned about friends that got killed after we were back where it was safe.
All right.
And that's bothered me for a long time.
I know that one of the criticisms was that they brought us home too fast. That, you know, for my instance, I was in a naval gunfire. I was in a naval gunfire position on Tuesday. We killed a bunch of goose in an artillery battle, and I was helicoptered out that afternoon. And with going to Da Nang and then going to Okinawa and spending 12 hours in Okinawa, and with the date change, I was in Yale Bowl watching Calvin Hill score touchdowns for Yale against Columbia on Saturday.
You know,
but I wanted to come home. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to get home as quick as I could. But in retrospect, like the guys in World War II, it took them 3 months to come home on a freighter, and they had a chance to sit around and talk about some of their feelings and some of their experiences and compare notes and have guys say, yeah, Jesus, that's the way I feel too, and have you say to me, yeah, that's the way I feel, and be reassured that everybody else is feeling exactly the same way I am. And I guess that's why I'm glad I've had a chance just to sit for a couple of days and not tell war stories. Who cares about that? Anybody can tell war stories. Just to be able to talk and not even mean just here in this group. I mean just walking around and talking to a guy and seeing tears in his eyes when he looks at that wall or expressions on faces, and it makes you realize that you're no different than anybody else, really. You know, you're all part of the same brotherhood, really.
Okay, now that'll be on that side over yonder. That side over there. Okay. Thanks a lot. Sure.
But I can't find too many people around here.
I see you can use a what?
Yeah, I was a squad leader. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was in the court, man, I was all over. Yeah. How you doing, brother? All right.
I was all over. Were you anywhere near tonight? Hey, man, how you doing, man? How you doing, brother? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Long time. Spent some time seeing you. How you doing? Talk to you. Okay. All right. Who have you been there? Man, wild, man. I think everybody.
Marine Corps?
Yeah.
3rd Battalion, 26th Marine.
I was at 226 for about 2 months. And they transferred me out. I got women that sent me out to the repos, and I got
What year?
65, 67,
Yeah, I was at 67, 68.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 68, 69
Yeah.
myself.
Well, you wouldn't know that doing yeah, you wasn't doing
Yeah.
He got that.
Yeah,
Kiss
well.
on? Did the kiss on?
No, not there.
We all call him a little old man. He was about 5'4", and he was a peppery little character. But he was kind of like a mother hen. He was always watching out for the younger troops, and he was just, what can I say?
Melvin A. Pollard. Robert J. Pollard.
I liked it. It made me cry, especially the way they put the deaths in order of when they were killed. In other words, it's not alphabetical at the monument, right? It's in the order when they're killed. And so I could easily go right to days that I knew where things had happened to us, and I could look up guys' names, and they'd be right there.
Well, the stacks of names just keep getting taller and taller and taller as we get towards the end of it.
It's not as cold as like gravestones per se, and yet it's like a home, you know, at last.
I have a very hard problem relating in a one-to-one basis with women. The first question for them is, you know, well, I don't want to embarrass you, but can I ask you a personal question? And I'll say, sure. What happened to you? You know, and I'll say Vietnam. I got drunk one night, and I cut out a row of parking meters in Abilene, Texas. And the judge decided I needed Uncle Sam to straighten my can out. I married my first time at 17. Your typical kid that knocked one up, and the right thing to do is marry her. So I did. I can't stand to be restricted. And marriage restricts the living daylights out of me. I just got my 5th divorce. 5th. I'm handling it very, I handle it now anyway.
I met a woman in Vietnam, really. She was like a pen pal. So I wrote to her for almost 8 months before I ever met her. And by the following spring, I was married. And I probably, you know, she was only physically in my life 2 months at the most. But when we hung together for a while, I mean, it seemed things seemed to be okay. No great problems. And we had a daughter, and that didn't hurt it. It seemed to help it. And then all of a sudden, it just seemed to fall apart. I don't know. I had some troubles relating back to Nam and thinking of where I'd first met her. It was a scary kind of a thing. It was me. It wasn't her. It definitely wasn't her. Sometimes you know, you'd argue about this, you'd argue about that, and I'd wonder how did this all start? You know, how did I get into this relationship in the first place? It always led back to some foxhole when a helicopter dropped off mail one time. You know, that's when it started. It didn't start meeting her anywhere except there. It made me jump so many times. It made so many associations for over there. And even to this day, I'm really at a loss to explain totally why. I have good friends who wonder why. I mean, on the surface, it seemed like we were happily married. We'd bought a home. We had the little girl. But somehow it just didn't seem right.
Got a good friend of mine that I went to flight school with, and he and a bunch of other guys in our unit were killed. And I escorted his body back by request of his family. And so it became a real quick emotional bond between his wife and I, and she and I ended up, when I got back, getting married. And it wasn't a really destructive relationship. We helped each other get through college, gave each other the motivation to get through our degrees. But after that period was over and I got my degree and she got hers, we realized we weren't really, you know, good for each other for the long term. But
It was painful.
It was very painful during that time, that realization. I felt a lot of guilt because I wasn't wounded or anything. And I came back and I thought, my God, why couldn't I have been wounded and him be wounded? And, you know, both of us come at least make it back. And so there was some guilt feelings about that. And I've gone through a lot of adjustment over that. In fact, I see a counselor now.
I built a prison around myself. Put up the walls, and I wouldn't let anybody else in, and I wouldn't let myself out.
When I got back home, I didn't love anybody, I didn't love anything, and had no feelings whatsoever. It was like being a zombie.
I don't think I was capable of love when I got married. I mean, I really don't. To this day, I'm not sure I'm capable of it. I don't even know what it means.
And it took me like 4 or 5 or 6 years to ever really feel anything again.
When I got back from Vietnam, I couldn't laugh anymore. Jokes were not funny. I became so taken with the experience that I had been through that I thought I'd never laugh again. And I seldom do.
So many guys on the same day, it's incredible.
What difference does it make whether you fight one day?
I know.
Look at all of the good names.
I know. No, but some of them are special to you. Some of them are special to you. Others are special to other people. It's not good, no doubt about it. I don't know what it is that keeps me and you alive and someone else up there, but it's either God or fate. I don't know who you believe in.
4th Infantry Division. I'd like to meet some guys that was with Frankie, you know. Really
Yeah,
nice.
hopefully.
How you doing, Richie, man?
Welcome
How you
home,
feeling?
man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is it, man. Doesn't seem like 14 years ago.
Hey, there he is. I got me an orange patch, man.
Hey, let me show you
something.
25th. Seems like just yesterday, you know, because I'm thinking about him every day. Without his glasses.
That's right. Wait, hold that. Hold that, Smith.
Hey, what year was that?
67.
67.
And I was standing on his shoulders.
Is that right? All right. He's never off my mind.
Arcade with the 4th?
No, 4th Infantry, 1st of the 8th. My brother was killed January 69. My brother and I were drafted the same day. We went through the same training up until orders. We got orders to go to Nam, both of us. And that's when we were home. In fact, we stayed home like 3 weeks, you know. And we didn't even talk about it till like day before the last day. And he said, his words were, hey man, if you didn't have a wife and kid, you'd go. You got a wife and kid, and I'm gonna go. And that was it. You know, no more was said. Plus, I was scared. He knew it. I knew he was scared, but...
He died for you.
Well, if you want to say that, he died for us all. I've had people tell me, man, wash that out of your mind. That's in the past. Forget that. And I say, how can you forget something that happened to you in your life, especially something as tragic as that, a trauma like that? It's just not a thing that you say, all right, wake up one morning, I'm gonna forget it's gone. You know, don't think about it. It doesn't happen like that.
Well, friend. Oh, I know. It's your generation, I'll tell you that. It's my generation, too. I still don't see it.
I don't either, but it doesn't matter. It's just names keep coming into my head, and it seems absurd to try and pick one out.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, you should look for one though, because this morning when I was looking for a bunch and couldn't find any, I felt worse. I found one.
It's important to you to find.
Yeah, it's important. You should find one. I think it's real important. Definitely. I'm gonna get the right thing on that. Yeah, I want you to find that guy. You should definitely find him.
Eyes on the man on the right. Come on, dress it up. Dress it up.
You gonna throw ticker tape?
Yeah, we want ticker tape.
You bet, man.
You know what I'd like to do is when we start going by the review stand, let's all try to hold hands. Yeah. From New Mexico, you know.
Oh, yeah, the first nurse I've ever met. I got here the other day and I exchanged
The reunion of reunions.
Yeah.
I honestly feel it's a day late and a dollar short. It's 10 years too late and it's not enough. I appreciate it for what it is, but if the veterans hadn't put this thing together, it wouldn't happen.
Wow, when were you there? I was there in 66 and 67. Wow.
Thank you.
God.
I wouldn't miss it, right? But it's not going to change much.
Well, this is all right. Now we're complete. Everybody got somebody.
Yeah.
Bob Lund.
I knew Bob Lund.
Did you?
Yeah,
sure.
he's my
Yeah.
partner.
And
shake your hand again.
There was another one.
And Captain Parker, he was the jet jockey, used to fly 01.
Yeah.
New Mexico.
Houston, Texas.
Are we Massachusetts? Yeah!
How can you have that working when the camera passed over there?
Who are you, Quaintree? Quaintree. Mag 39.
Punch in, Dubai, Rockville.
Bong Song, Play Q is where we met.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Wounded physically, I was blown up by incoming mortar. Got a Purple Heart for it. But mentally, I'm wiped out. My life is a total shambles. About 100 jobs, 4 times in jail, a divorce, a wife who was unfaithful and left me. I have my own blood brother, born from the same mother, will not have anything to do with me because I am a stupid, crazy Vietnam vet. I'm wearing a suit from J.C. Penney's that I bought for $69 on sale. It doesn't matter what you pay for, it's how you display it. But I set up at flea markets and make a living because I can't get a job. And I'm as well capable as anybody in the world.
Fixing to go back to school, as a matter of fact.
I just got out of school, man. Commercial diving school. Finally, the Army gave me something.
I'm going to.
Yeah, let's do the VA, no problem.
It's going to be a horticulturist. I'm going to learn how to grow things.
When I left home, my wife asked me how long I was going to be. I said, I don't know. She said, if it takes a year, I'll be here when you get back. This is my new wife. She loves me and she understands. So you talk about my suit and how impressive I look. Hey, I am impressive. Number one, because I am a Vietnam vet. Number two is when I came to Washington, D.C. on my last dollar, I came proud, and I'm going to be proud, and now I have something to be proud of.
I've always felt proud of doing it. We did what we had to do, and I feel that the draft resistors that went to Canada, they did what they felt they had to do, and I don't hold anything against them. They did what they thought was right. We did what we thought was right.
Welcome home, brother.
Hey, it's good to be together. It's the last party with the big one we have.
Yeah, no doubt.
Next year, it's all getting down to serious business.
I can't believe it.
I have to make myself do this in some way to try to get over some of the pain, you know, from coming back. You know, there's survival guilt and 1,000 other things, and it's just things that we've tried not to face. We've avoided, and now we have to face it.
it's different, and I'm glad I came. I'm very, very glad I came. I'll go home from here different than when I came up here.
It only took me 15 years, okay, to get here, to get this far, right? And now I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to continue, and I realize that I'm not on top of the world. I got a long way to go.
In my mind, it's already changed. I can go out and walk down the street with my head up high, and I can face the world now, because for the first time, these brothers, they came to see me. You came to see me. And now I can make it. I can go out in that world, and a year from now, you can look at me, and I'll be wearing this suit because I could really afford it. No doubt in my mind.
Welcome home.